Okay, so we've got our maps, we've got our Inkscape open, and I've already resized the artboard for 18 inches by 18 inches. We've got our maps over here, and I've got our workspace all set up with the fill and stroke, transform, and the layers. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to layers first of all and set up our layers. So we've got layer 1, and that's what we're going to import our first map onto. So we're going to import, and we're going to do import file 1 and OK on the document settings. And if you need any more refreshers on this, just go back through the first 8 lessons, and this will all seem old hat to you after a while. So we're going to import these settings, or import the PDF, and then we're going to change it up a little bit so that we can actually use the PDF that we get. Alright, so now our map is in, and of course we'll just kind of center it up. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to ungroup it because it's one big group and we want to delete some parts of it. So we're going to click the ungroup, and you really only need to do it once, and then deselect it. We're going to click on this border. It's going to get rid of the background, get rid of the little map quest. You want to be careful what you're grabbing because you don't want to delete all the important stuff. You just want to get rid of the, you even have to use the zoom and zoom in on it so you can see what you're doing. And that's about as good as it's going to get. Alright, so now we go down to our layers, and we want to have another layer. We're just going to leave it whatever it calls it, add that on top, and now we're on that layer. Now we're going to go ahead and import the second map, and then line or fix it and then line it up. And when that one comes in, we'll just kind of move it out of the way, and then delete all the stuff we don't want, and then move it into place so that we can tile it on top of our other map. And it should be fairly easy since we left the scaling the same on the map when we were actually getting the map. So then that way all we have to do is just move it into place, and we should already have one big map. Alright, so we ungrouped it, deselect it, select the background, delete that. Come up here and get some of these other pieces that we don't want and delete them. Alright, and so now that's all done. Now since we're on that layer, to select the whole thing, it's in pieces, we want to select it all, so we're going to go to File, or Edit, Select All. It selects everything on that row, or on that layer, and just click and drag, and we're going to move it into place. Alright, now you can kind of see behind, you see the streets lining up, so they're pretty aligned, so we'll just drop that there, and we'll zoom in just to check it out. Alright, and since you can't see behind it, what you might need to do is turn the opacity down. We'll turn it down a little bit, and that'll let us see through. So see, it's pretty close, it's pretty good. So we're just going to leave that right there, and and then that way, if you want, you can just leave the opacity, say at maybe 50% or so, and then that way you can still see through it at the edges, but you're still working on the map. Alright, so now we're going to go back up here, zoom out to our map, and deselect. And so now we've got a working map that we can actually trace off of. So now what we want to do is we want to set this up so that we can draw our streets on top, because we want, remember, a streets layer that's all in one. So we need to come over here, and on top we're going to label this streets and add above current. So now we've got our street layer. We're going to lock out our maps so that we can't edit them and we're still selected on the street layer. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to start drawing out our streets and then start labeling the streets for our map.